Hello, this is Israel with one of my other video blogs. I hope you enjoy them. Today I'm answering two important questions, into what and into why. The first question that I received that today I'm dealing with, it's what should I know before I buy into a condominium property? And it seems like a very simple question, though. At the end of this video, you'll know that it's very, very important. And basically, I could break them down into five important things before you buy into a property in condominium. First of all, remember that you are subject to bylaws. This means when you buy a property in a condominium, it means you're subject to the bylaws of the condominium itself, to the regulations, laws of the state or local regulations, and you're based to the condominium regime. Exactly what are common areas, what are not common areas. Just a broad example, it's the condominium regime might establish the number of visits you can have, the hours you use the facilities, pets allowed. For example, you can't have wild pets or just pets that under any circumstances endanger the use of the condominium of other owners. And you might run also into additional costs, as to say using the bar, using the gym, having additional visits. And why is this? Because the condominium regime establishes a cost based on individual, based on the percentage value of your property. So therefore, when there's more visits, more usage, more of this, you can run into something that the bylaw establishes as additional cost. Now, for some people, this is very important. Why? Because maybe you have a pet which it's part of your family, and the condominium regime doesn't allow it. That means you're going to run into a lot of conflicts with how you want to use your property and how the condominium allows you to use your property. So please keep this in mind, because before you buy into it, because it might be a drawback. Maybe for you it's very important to have as many visits as you want, but because of the construction quality, because of the number of elevators, the access, the constructor decided or was authorized a number of people circulating the areas. Therefore, you might just be entitled to a certain reduced amount of visitors, and it's very common in condominiums. So please keep that in mind, because it's something that you will run into, and in case you're not aware of it, then it might affect how you perceive your property. Any condominium, at least decent size, it has financial records. You have to have a financial system, an accounting system, and this is part of the assets of the property. As any accounting system, if you have debt, it means you're buying into a property with debt. And even sooner or later, you have to run into the circumstance to turn the debt into cash, which means you have to pay it. Fine example, really fine example, if the condominium has legal lawsuits, if the condominium has debt on water supply, energy supply, services, eventually at a point, and it's not healthy financially, eventually at a point you have to run at an extraordinary fee to be able to cover all those expenses. Now, on the same keynote, remember that the more aged the condominium is, it requires more means. So it might require more expenses to repair this, repair that, and that it's coming out of your pocket. So just keep that in mind. Check the books, check the finances of previous years, because you'll find very interesting information regarding the property you're planning to buying, and it might be something that just helps you decide right away, or it might be something that you have to really be aware of and not just buy into that right away. The other thing, it's projects. Well, before I get into projects, some of it is very positive because in the if you see a very positive financial system and you have a very good reserve fund, it means that whether now, tomorrow, or a year or 2 years later, the elevator deck needs replacement, you have that fund there. So therefore, whether positive or negative, you really want to take a close look into the financial situation of your property. Based very much on the same keynote as projects. Is there any future investment projects going on? And this will give you an idea very much of the needs of the condominium, whether it's to upgrade or just to keep the services as they are. But eventually you get a really clear note on how much you're accountable for after buying the property to keep the same services. Just ask that question and you get so much information, very important information that will make you decide. That's point number 3. It's first bylaws, the other is the financials and projects, number 3. Now number 4. Number 4 is check every year. Usually every year you must have an annual condominium meeting. It's the meetings, the assemblies are the most powerful authority of a building. Therefore, you get many feedback on the problems you have on the condominium, on the neighbors, and that'll help you clear out some ideas on what are the needs and what are you buying into. So please remember, number 4, check out the assembly acts, the assembly documents. You get a lot of insight of the property once you read them. Number 5, it's remember, you have neighbors. There's people around you. Some of these people have very different culture than you, very different ideas, and by being in a condominium, even though you're regulated pretty much with the same bylaws, but still you're dealing with different cultures of people. Keep that in mind because that'll bring me to my next point, which is condominium culture. They have to have condominium culture, but you also do. It means that once you buy into condominium regime, you have to make sure that you know that some things you might just have to drop back on your personal desires because it affects the majorities. And this is very common in condominiums where people get so frustrated because they want things a certain way, but the condominium doesn't. Therefore, they get this frustration because they're not using their property as they wish. But remember, there's something, it's condominium culture, and you have to really buy into that in order to get along with your neighbors and really enjoy your property using it with the rules. This brings to the next point. Remember, a condominium, it's a group of people from different cultures, different ideas gathering in one same building. It doesn't mean you all have to get along. Definitely not. It's we know that by human nature we just don't get along, all of us. That's why we're so many in this world. But the one thing, condominiums are just like cities. They work on democratic systems. So as if there's something you need, if there's something you really want, there's a way to do it. It's a democratic system. You speak to your neighbors, you talk to other people, you let them know your needs, you let them know your things you would like different, and that will help you a lot. And my last is why. I'll touch that in the next video. Hope you like it. Bye.